Fantasia. I know for those of you who are at the Queen Mary thing, you were all about bars. We have Fantasia. Fantasia is our main bar. And you can see there we have the Arkham Asylum, we have the Neibolt House, we have a Devil's Drop Tower in the center, so you'll get to drive 100 feet up in the air and have a panoramic view of the studio. That's our church where The Exorcist will take place, and then you can see Seymour's arms are hanging out there to the left of your screen. That's our little shop of horrors where we'll have exclusive Horror Made Here merchandise.
Amazing.
Sign me up for a True Blood with a vodka bag.
Yeah.
What's so, and this is I think the point that not only I want to stress, but I think that we want to stress, is that it's in the space.
Yeah, it's hallowed ground, it really is.
You're doing it there, and I think that that's very reminiscent, and it goes hand in hand with the tour and with who we are, that it's about doing it there where it happened with the real stuff, you know, the real costumes, the real props, as real as it can get, and that's what I think makes this so special. What else do you think sets this apart from other things in Southern California?
Well, I think you just touched on one of the biggest elements, John, was you know, as you're going through some of these mazes, you know, we're using the set pieces, the set walls from it in the Neibolt House to recreate the maze. Same thing with Conjuring. You know, a lot of the props and the set decoration elements were you know, from the film also. Same with our Stage 48 script to screen. It's an interactive sound stage that you have a chance to go through as part of this event. And we're actually going to have, thank you for advancing the slide, a tribute to Tim Burton this year.
Yeah, so if you've been, so the one thing about this event, so this is a separate ticketed event. It's not part of the regular studio tour. It's 13 nights, and we'll get to that at the end of our presentation, running from 7 p.m. to 1 in the morning. But the one element from the regular tour that'll be open is what we normally call script to screen. We've renamed it script to scream. And it'll be featuring, we'll be featuring props, costumes, and original set pieces from Mars Attacks, from Sweeney Todd, from Corpse Bride, and for the first time ever, Beetlejuice. So we've just pulled this from our archive. We have all the statues that you saw in the film. We actually have a shrimp cocktail arm. It's absolutely incredible. We're really, really excited about that.
30th anniversary of Beetlejuice this year. 30th anniversary. No better time than right now.
God, I feel old.
So what do you see?
I saw that movie at the drive-ins when we had drive-ins.
What do you see happening for Horror Made Here, at least over the next couple years and the coming years, and why is it important to go now?
Well, you know, what really is important to go now? We're a small attraction when you think about it, and we do have limited numbers, so this is really a special event for our fans. As Gary made mention to earlier, it's a party in the back lot. We can only have so many people on that back lot also, so it's a handful of people instead of the masses, and we want to keep it that way also. So this really is a defining year for us as a company. To you know, we're invested in our horror brand, in Horror Made Here also, but it's still very, very small, and it's just growing at this point. That's, again, to go back to the whole special aspect of it. If you've ever taken the tour, done anything on the lot, it is about the experience, it's about the intimacy, it's about making it about you. Tailor-made scares just for you this time around. And also, I mean, you know, some of the haunts that we're doing this year are just fantastic. We're going to start talking about some of the mazes. We already made mention of a few, but these are mazes you absolutely don't want to miss, featuring some of the most beloved and horrifying characters that we can think of. Okay, let's get into it. And there's two of them. It's time. All right, Michael, tell us a little bit about what we can expect from the Conjuring universe this year.
Well, like Danny said, last year was really exciting to be able to do The Conjuring. We kind of went through the film and really kind of dug into trying to figure out, you know, what are the scares? What kind of get you there? You know, maybe not the most obvious jumps or whatnot, but what is it in the film series that gets you? So being able to use the lot and being able to kind of be in the space where, I mean, even the church right there was used in Annabelle creation, you know. So you're there, you're using the props that are in the archives from the film, and you're able to, you know, put you in the film in a way, and that's kind of what the kind of overarching idea is to keep you kind of in that same zone or in that same feeling when you go into the film and kind of see some of those iconic moments that you see. And for those of you that were there last year, we did a number of the kind of key moments from The Conjuring and Annabelle. We got to pass through the crayon room. The demon made an appearance, and we'll be doing a lot of that. But this year it's going to be a little bit bigger. Instead of using, just 2 areas, which is what we used last year, we're expanding it out into a bigger area. We're going to have some active waiting. There'll be stuff going on while you're waiting in the queue. So, we're just making it bigger. I don't want to give too much away. There's some there's some good scares in there.
For those of you who are waiting for The Nun comes out September 7th. And when you're waiting in line, make sure you keep your eyes open for little Easter eggs from The Nun.
It's already giving stuff away.
I'm not. I'm just saying Easter eggs.
I was so proud of the Conjuring walkthrough last year. I can only imagine what it's going to be. What do we have going on here?
Well, this was from last year. This was some of the early concept art from last year. This was one of the rooms where we wanted to have a kind of an amalgam of the scenes. And this is a particularly terrifying room for some people, as you can see, if you can't see in the middle. As you walk in this room, Annabelle is staring you dead in the eyes, and that definitely took people aback. And the cool thing about this room is once you get in there, it's not a line. It's not just a pass through. We have a guide that's taking you through, a paranormal expert that's kind of giving you some of the details about it. And when you get in that room, you realize there's no way out.
Great.
That's all they do.
And I would also like to say that the Annabelle is the Annabelle from the films. It's the real Annabelle doll from the movies.
John, tell them the story about Annabelle.
Yeah, so we've
on the tour.
There have been legitimate experiences with Annabelle that people will attest to from the studio. There is, whenever we have the Halloween events and we bring the case out, there is security footage of her case just casually opening on its own. And there was also somebody who had to move Annabelle. They had to move her from her case to a different display case by the time she put Annabelle down. Her arms were all scratched up inexplicably. This is real, people. These are real things.
It's also really scary at the end of the night. We don't leave Annabelle in there because it's a very valuable actual doll. So there's always it was Mary last year from our special events team, but you'd see her pitch black midnight walking through holding this Annabelle doll. It was kind of a scary sight.
All right, I bet you guys don't know what's coming up next.
Okay. This.
All right, there we go.
This. I know that I speak for myself, and I probably speak for a lot of people here. I can't wait for this because I think it's amazing, and I think it's perfect to finally see horror reach out into the DC brand. The fact that those can connect now.
The DC gaming brand. For me, this is like a dream come true. As a horror fan, I got horror tattoos, but anybody that knows me knows I'm an avid gamer too. So this is like the marriage of both worlds for me.
I think it's so exciting, the fact that you can go to a horror event and Arkham Asylum is there. That's pinnacle for me and I think a lot of people. So what can we expect from Escape from Arkham Asylum?
Yeah, absolutely. So because we are basing this on the DC game, we are really going on an atmospheric adventure. It's all about the atmosphere. It's that twisted, deep, winding adventure that you go on when you kind of delve into that storyline for the game. We are really leaning on Joker. Joker is going to help us out and kind of invite us in. And what we really like about this so much is that a lot of times in haunts, when you have a maze or an asylum or a jail setting, a lot of times the plot is, you're going there for some reason, you're going on a visit or something, and then whoops, everything goes wrong, and now the inmates are running the asylum. You're not a visitor here. You are an Arkham inmate. So you basically go to trial, the Joker deems you nefarious enough to be locked up in the Arkham Asylum, you hear those gates close behind you, and it is you as an inmate on your own trying to make your way through this asylum, which is a lot of fun, and it's really deep and twisted, and just as the Joker's our judge and jury, and he might, I'm not going to say too much, he might sentence you there, but he also might help you break out. So we'll leave it at that, and we're relating to that Joker, but we see a lot of other favorite characters along the way as well.
I want to hug you because I'm so excited.
It's going to be so much fun.
Another cool thing about it is, and Danny spoke about it, you know, the smaller numbers that we're trying to keep this to, and being able to have a little bit more intimate experience. You'll have a little bit more time to explore through there. We've got some things that you kind of can't do in traditional mazes, and things that I'll switch up, and kind of different versions of the maze kind of multiple times as you pass through.
Yeah,
That's absolutely. Oh, sorry.
One thing that Karoni and Bonnie, you told us the other day when we were talking, and this is really theater in the round. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Exactly what I was about to say. Yeah, we keep kind of throwing that around a lot, and it is a gift. You know, so there's so many attractions around Halloween. You know, in Los Angeles, and all of them are wonderful in each their own way. And this one, like we keep saying, it's going to be small. It's going to be intimate, and because of that, it allows us to do what we are kind of calling theater in the round. Our actors can move around a little bit. We're not going to have conga lines that are going through mazes. Our actors can move around a little bit. They can scare you in different locations. They can move throughout the maze. It is it's a different, intimate Halloween experience.
I think something I've been saying too is, you know, last year, the authenticity that we bring, the storytelling that we bring from as a studio tour, we obviously insert that into Horror Made Here. But for the Conjuring maze last year, I knew where all the scares were. I mean, I knew who was coming out of the wall when. But it was different every time, and I jumped every single time. I knew when things were going to happen, and it just scared the hell out of me.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. I was with Dark Harbor for many, many years, and still love them and represent, and we'll be there. I cannot wait to see it. And when we first started doing meetings about this, and we were listening to kind of some of the scares that you guys did last year and that we're planning for this year, I was like, oh no, that won't work. And it's like, yes, it will work because it's so intimate and small. You're really getting a show, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
I love the use of the word experience, and that it really is that. As a studio, as a tour, it's always been about the story, and it's about the connection. And I think that it's all signs point to yes so far. What do we have next? Yes. The greatest mashup title that I could possibly see. Okay, so Danny. We're known for the studio tour, but I want to talk about Horror Made Here studio tour and what's in store for guests who go to Nightmare on Camp Crystal Lake.
So we do have this night tour as part of our offering, and the night tour takes you all throughout the Warner Brothers backlot. And one of the stops there, and I was mentioning before, where we have our the September lots, is actually our jungle, complete with a lake and a lake house, and a couple of structures that could easily resemble camp counselors' offices, maybe. And you know, it's one of the highlights of our night tour. You know, guests are going to be able to come through, take a stroll through Camp Crystal Lake at the midway point of our studio tour, and see our jungle like they've never been able to see it before.
Sleeping bags not required.
It's the perfect setting, though. If you've ever seen the jungle set at WB, it was born to play Camp Crystal Lake at some point. This is again the whole theater in the round, being a camper. This is, if you don't know where to find me during Horror Made Here, I'm going to be at Camp Crystal Lake. That's where I'm going to be. Are there any other things that we should be keeping an eye out for with this attraction?
You know, I think that, Karoni, do you want to talk a little bit about Camp Crystal Lake?
I don't want to give anything away, but I mean, you know, the jungle is a place that, you know, we've kind of gone through a few times at night. Actually, my first job ever was working on that jungle in Budweiser Frogs commercial, if you remember those.
The Frosty Frog.
Crawling around in the lagoon, and you know, when, you know, and it's Horror Made Here, and, you know, you get these ideas, and you go to Warner Brothers, and you go, hey, you know, is it cool if we do this? And they say yes. And then you're like, oh, geez, we can do this.
Well, the jungle's creepy anyway. I mean, the jungle's creepy on a regular night.
We walked through a number of times at night, and it's great by itself. So, you know, and then just to be able to bring, you know, both Jason and Freddie into that space, and it'll really be kind of an alternate experience from really feeling like you are at Camp Crystal Lake and in a definite, obvious nightmare. So, and there's a lot of good stops along the way. There's some exteriors, there's some interiors. It's going to be a really unique experience.
John, you were talking about components of a good story before, and or what makes a good horror film, and it really is the story, and the story that builds suspense and drives tension, and you really get the sense of it as you're creeping around through our jungle and just waiting for the next jump scare around the corner.
You could literally just drive through at night with nothing and it would be scary. I've done it. We'll talk about that later. All right.
Security, we'll start.
All right, let's talk about what's next. It is back. Okay, what are the differences between what we experienced last year and what's coming up?
We're super leaning into kind of this catchline, it knows what scares you, and we really wanted to embrace just the fears of the kids in the films. So instead of, we didn't want to do an It book report, everyone's seen it, there's a new one that's coming out, everyone knows it, everyone loves it, everyone's here because of it. We wanted to really kind of just target those fears, and how does Pennywise manifest nightmares for these people, and we wanted to pull people into those nightmares and really scare the crap out of them. So, and I think we're going to do it. And we, of course, have a new film coming out. So you should take a look around as you're going through the maze and look for some Easter eggs that might give a wink and a nod and a nudge to the next film.
That is if you can keep your eyes open while
Exactly.
walking through the maze. Yes, yes. I mean, it was such a huge hit last year. Which door are you
You
going
have to
for?
choose one of those doors.
Nothing happens
Spoiler
though.
alert.
They're just they are the real doors from the movie though. That's the cool thing. So when you come through this maze, you are walking through the real doors from the movie.
And yes, you do have to choose.
Yeah, there's no going back.
Gary, which one are you going for?
I'm gonna try scary. I think
Scary, just middle of the road
Right down the
guy.
center.
right down the center.
Right.
Always choose.
Is it reverse psychology?
I don't know.
All right, I guess we'll find out. I think everybody's excited to have it back because the house in Hollywood was a huge hit, and then moving it to Warner Brothers was a huge hit, and the fact that it's back.
But just to be clear and remind everyone, this is not the same house that we had last year. This is not the house that was on Hollywood Boulevard and Vine. This is a new, reimagined experience on our backlot. It's bigger. It's expanded. Active waiting. The scares start from the moment you get in line.
Yeah, we saw that. It was such a big hit last year also, and our Midwest Street looks just like Derry, Maine, so we decided, wouldn't we want to start this in Derry and then make our way into the Neibold house towards the finale of this? So that's exactly what we've done.
With Georgie's aplenty, I'm sure.
Missing the arms and all.
Okay, I think church is in session. Send me to church, guys. The Exorcist forbidden screening. Michael, what is going on?
Really don't think we should talk about this. I don't know. It's sacrilegious even to talk about. So we have the Midwest Church. It's kind of the main centerpiece of Midwest Street, and we thought, where else to do a short little screening of one of the scariest films of all time, but a church. So I'm not gonna say too much about this, but guests who are willing to risk eternal damnation will be able to queue up, come sit in some pews, and watch some of the scariest moments of the scariest film of all time, and hope that nothing goes wrong.
All we'll say it's a 4D experience.
That's
all we'll say.
Demonic 4D experience.
4D.
You're gonna feel all
four.
four.
All senses.
Bonnie and I are good. We went to Catholic school as kids, so we're all right.
I love that my Catholic school relates to me putting on this.
Right. My dad saw this movie on a date, and he told me that he walked the lady home, and then he said, once I dropped her off, I sprinted home to my house.
Yeah, I think everyone here probably has an Exorcist story. I mean, at one point or the other. I remember running out of my TV room that I would sneak into to watch TV late at night, and the commercial came on, and I don't think I've been back in that room since.
I wasn't allowed to watch the movie, so of course I was home alone the day before Halloween when I was 12 and watched the movie, and I've never regretted it. Scared me ever since. So, Gary, what can we have that's new? What can we talk about that's new in terms of packages for this year?
Well, there's a couple things too. So, just in addition to what we talked about up front on the the party on the back lot, where we have the Lost Boys Retro Arcade. So you'll be able to take a step back into the '80s and have some fun. We have our center stage. We've had a séance. We've called Betty Davis. We've called to her. And I think she's coming, and she may bring Joan. So keep an eye out on center stage. They may make an appearance. We've got tons of food. Something new this year. So I talked about Tim Burton's Sweeney Todd exhibit. We're also going to have Mrs. Lovett's Pie Shop. So we'll be serving priest and grocer and a few other things potentially. Oh, and we'll have Reagan's split pea soup. But it'll be very delicious. Promise you that. But we actually have a lot more food options. We're not doing food trucks this year. We have a whole culinary experience for everyone really to enjoy. But we also listened. Last year we asked for, people were asking for a VIP. So this year, losers rule.
Yes!
So if you join the Losers Club, it's a $169 ticket. You get front-of-line access to each of our mazes and the drop tower, 2 free beverages, an IT photo op experience. It'll be you imposed on a missing person's picture to take home, as well as priority parking if you decide to drive. So all of our tickets go on sale August 1st. Festival of Frights, it's 13 nights, 5th to the 6th, 12th to the 14th, 18th to the 21st, and 25th through the 28th. As I mentioned, tickets go on sale. However, sign up for our updates by midnight tonight. You'll get a special email where we're going to mail you a special $10 off offer, pre-sale only, before everything else goes on sale. It'll be limited inventory. We have only a small percentage of our tickets for sale. We'll send that out on Monday morning. So go to our website, horrormadehere.com. Make sure you sign up for the newsletter, and we will email you a special promotion code Monday morning.
All right, well, I think we're going to be opening up to some questions now.
If there's anybody with any questions regarding this year's horror...
Wait, actually, before we do the questions, we are also still casting. So if you guys are interested, if anyone wants to come in and audition, just contact hmhcasting@myco2.com. We're going to have a casting call August 11th and 12th. And just this information is also available at the booth. So if you want to go down and grab it at the flyer at the booth, it'll give you all that you need to know.